And here we go with episode 12 of the Mike Spot Podcast. I'm Chris, senior producer and lead designer at Checkmate Creative.
And I'm Josh, quality assurance and associate designer for Checkmate Creative.
And I'm Aaron, narrative designer for Checkmate Creative.
All right, guys, I'm going to cut to the chase. The reason everyone's here tuning in, we need to find out more about Eras of Wrestling.
Woo.
The big mysterious project that has been in development since the beginning of 2025 when we announced it to the world. And to be honest with you guys, much longer before that, we've been working on this thing.
Yeah.
We talked about it in previous episodes. We've dropped little bits of information about what we're building here in terms of features and what characters we're going to be including, and the fact that it ties our games together, those games being 80s Mania Wrestling Returns and Modern Mania Wrestling GM. And we've been quiet on the promotional front. We've made the announcement and we've talked about the game in these podcasts, but these episodes have been few and far between recently, and only because we're working so hard on trying to get this game out to you. We announced the calendar year of 2025, and of course everyone's looking around going, well, geez, time's running out, right? And we're well aware of that too. So we wanted to put this episode out as the way in which we finally let you guys in on the fact that we are weeks away, literally weeks away from release on this project, and the promotion is going to start right now. So what that means is we have a live website at this point. That's erasofwrestling.com. You can go there and you can see tons of artwork. You can read about lots of features, and there you can see the trailer video for Eras of Wrestling, which also you may have caught by this point on our socials. We will have posted that trailer for you guys to see. And of course, the video is full of all sorts of peeks at some of these things that we've been building over the past 2 years now with Eras of Wrestling. So back to that release date. We can't in this business give you an exact day, because even at the very end of everything, Apple and Google, let's put it this way, decide exactly when things occur. We submit the game, we wait for their review process. But again, we are publishing this podcast in early December of 2025, and we are weeks away. So it will spill into next year. We will have missed that announcement of getting it in this calendar year, and that stinks, but it is for the sake of the game. The reason why most video game projects do end up getting delayed is because there is a frantic rush at all times, especially in the latter stages, to continue to not only like fix things, but like make things as best as they can be. And that sometimes unlocks new features and new ideas. And it's sort of this like never-ending thing that keeps growing and growing and growing. And eventually you have to decide, all right, that's enough stuff to fit in for now. And even when you finally make that decision, then you got to just test the hell out of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And just make sure that you try to figure out every scenario that can go wrong, or, you know, something that won't work upon launch day. So that's what we're doing. Polishing, testing, balancing, that's a whole nother thing where you've got to really kind of get a feel for the economy of the game and the way you earn things. So yeah, it's a process that takes as much time as it takes, with the ultimate goal of delivering something awesome.
Yeah.
So thanks for sticking with us for this amount of time without really getting much promotional material or concrete news about a release date. That could be frustrating. But, you know, if you're hanging around and you're interested in this thing, it is coming really soon.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen the website, erasofwrestling.com, and then obviously like the video on our socials, definitely go check it out. From a testing perspective too, the game has really come a long way since beta started. And yeah, we're at that balancing stage where the whole point is kind of just getting it ready for everyone to make sure that it can handle the load of all our player base, and that we're really fulfilling like a perfect kind of successor to 80s Mania and making sure that it lives up to the hype. Which, by the way, hype season is started.
Yep, we do plan on having a whole bunch of social media posts beyond just the trailer video and the website. We got a bunch of cool stuff that we're going to be posting. So, you know, stay tuned to our socials for more news and reveals and stuff like that as we lead up to that eventual release date.
To Josh's point, where you just said every single new build that we get for this game, the entire team is just like, holy crap, how did it level up from the previous version, because we already liked it. And so in every version that we are seeing, it seems you can see in real time as things get fine-tuned and get better and better. And then to Chris's point, Eras is going to be similar in regard to 80s and modern in that it will be, a living thing that continues to have updates, new characters, new features as time goes by and things evolve. But the last thing that you want to do in terms of releasing a game is put something out that doesn't feel complete. And I feel very confident as we get weeks away, as you mentioned, that what's going to be released for players will be complete as it is. It will be the vision that we have had for this game.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with the level of thoroughness that this game will have gone through.
Absolutely. And the launch version itself, we already have stuff in mind for a post-release pipeline. It's like there's already plans in motion for things that are going to continue to feed the player experience post-launch.
Mm-hmm. The team has really looked at this game from all different angles, I feel like. All kinds of different people. Shout out to everybody else who has worked on this as well. It's not just the 3 people you're listening to right now either. There are many, many more people involved. And like I said, the word thorough comes to mind. I feel like this has been looked at from all angles and all kinds of really creative, really interesting ways to make a game that's very enjoyable.
Me and Chris were talking about this maybe like a year ago, that kind of the whole point of making Eras is to take everything that we've learned from 80s and modern and create the best wrestling general manager game, and no arbitrary deadline is going to stop us from doing that.
That's it. So just a couple things I want to point out about the trailer. For those who have watched it, I'm sure some questions and speculation is rising. There's a quick snippet of Stomp Kaiju sort of collecting these shards up to 100. So just a quick rundown on how the shard concept will work in general is it's about accessing the characters in your universe. What do we mean by that? So on a scale of 1 to 100, as you collect these shards through various methods, ripping open packs and other game modes, you will fill their bar up to 100, and when you hit that 50 point, that halfway point on a shard meter, you will then essentially introduce the character into your universe. That's to say you have the opportunity to sign them to your Fed, or they will join CPU Feds. And from there, like in our other games, you can sort of recruit them out of the other Feds. The further you collect past 50 up to 100, the more affordable their signing becomes. Whereas in our other games, there's a flat price, you buy it once, you own them forever, and that's it. We wanted to expand upon that and again, add a little bit more flavor into the world, have the introductions of characters into the world be a little bit more special, be a little bit more rewarding. Understandably, change is a little intimidating sometimes when you hear something new coming, compared to something that you're used to and something that you're comfortable with and that you may like. You may think, oh no, I hate going in a new direction. But another mention is that there are plenty of wrestlers that are going to be available instantly in the game. There's going to be plenty of characters beyond those instantly accessible ones that you're going to get access to their shards in droves right away. So there's a nice sort of ramp up into collecting more rare cards like, main events and legendaries. And that kind of spills into the whole storyline concept we talked about before. And if you want to know more about that, listen to our previous episode.
And I think it's worth noting that the shop in Eras will not, by any means, be the only place where shards are attainable for players.
Another aspect of the trailer that's probably got people wondering, well, how's this going to work, is it's at the very beginning of the trailer. You'll see the commissioner's office where there's a bunch of the 5 different eras that are available to play with. We've talked about the different eras and what they represent in previous episodes, so you can go back and listen to that explanation. The game starts in the next-gen era, okay? So that is the center point. That's to say the middle of the 5 eras. You are going to have an opportunity at the end of the year in-game to advance to the next era or continue to stay in your era. And here's the cool part about these 5 different eras. You can actually stay in one era for the entire run of your game if you want. Or for example, you can split your entire 30-year run. That's the limit this time in this game. Really, you can split it up any way you want. In other words, you can stay in the same era you're in for all 30 years. If you love playing in the Mania era or the Territory era, you can stay there the whole time. Or you can advance forward. let's say 15 and 15, or, split it amongst 3 or 4 or all 5. Of course, to create the ultimate history, you'll want to collect enough stuff to have access to all 5 eras, start in the territory, and of course you can continue on through all 5 and build this long, linear, chronological history. And that's a lot of fun when we've got this Hall of Fame feature in play in the game as well.
And speaking of the actual eras within eras, there is obviously a time overlap between this game and 80s Mania, as well as some character overlap between this game and Modern. And I'm sure that fans have some questions about how the existence of eras is going to impact both 80s and Modern.
We had mentioned in previous episodes a release calendar or cadence for those games at the point in which Eras is ready to launch. And we are at that point where Eras is ready to launch. So, being in December, what that means for the rest of this year is we are not going to be updating Modern or 80s for the next few weeks until we cross into 2026. We might sneak in a little holiday token sale on those games. Stay tuned there. But we will cross into 2026. Being in January, our primary focus and goal will be on promoting Eras, getting as many people ready for that launch as possible. So that's what the month of January is going to be devoted to. The expectation is that after that time, Eras will be live, and Modern Mania and 80s Mania will then begin their normal cadence of releases. And as a reminder of what we mentioned, 80s Mania will be quarterly, but it will feature character packs instead of just 1 or 2 new guys like we've been doing for years. It'll be more of an accumulation of those sorts of releases for the time frame represented. So 3 times the amount of characters, let's say, for a quarter, as it would be 3 months in a quarter. And then for Modern Mania GM, it's going to remain on that 6-week schedule, but there may be times just like now where it takes another week or 2. So we'll probably be on a 6 to 8 week schedule with Modern Mania GM updates. And the good news on both of those fronts is there are so many characters from eras that overlap with 80s Mania that it's going to be interesting to be able to sort of harvest some stuff from there and maybe even do some unique stuff in 80s with some of the characters that didn't make the jump to eras yet. So there's a lot of really interesting ways to do these kind of 80s Mania character pack updates that we're excited about. And then Modern Mania GM, we've already got a few more characters in the pipeline right now that are fleshed out. The art's coming in. Really fun stuff there. As many Modern Mania players out there have recognized, our artist there, James Deotto's killing it, continues to kill it. So we've got a few more James pieces ready to roll once we get into early 2026. So,
okay, yeah, we've given a lot of information on eras. That's probably a lot to digest. Let's go have a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with some 80s Mania, Modern Mania, and honestly, a little more eras talk.
The prestigious Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tournament offers the biggest single payday in professional wrestling, $1 million. Now, you can witness this grueling 2-day tournament as the world's best tag teams meet in an awesome display of professional wrestling. Plus, Ric Flair versus Nikita Koloff, the Midnight Rider faces James J. Dillon, and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin meets Games Master Kevin Sullivan. The Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. Over 2 hours of intense wrestling action with money and honor at stake.
So coming off of what you're saying there, Chris, about the interesting ways that we could take some of these characters that will overlap timeline-wise with eras and with 80s, something players have probably noticed over the past few 80s Mania Wrestling updates is that the pairs of characters you've been getting have all been alts. They've all been based on existing characters and existing artwork. We had Frostbite and Magenta a little while back. We had the unmasked versions of Tanto and Rio. We had our Halloween tradition of Ghoulie alts with Evil Dirk and Charlie. And there's a few reasons for that. One of them is because we love traditions. Another is that we're always looking for ways to make the game more robust, as well as to bring fresh life to characters that maybe got pushed to the background in favor of shiny newer toys. I think that one describes them as gentlemen, where Frostbite and Magenta are based are coming off of guys who maybe hadn't had anything going for them for a while, where Tanto and Rio Diego, aka Magnifico, our goal there was we always want any division to be very expansive and have options for how players want to do it. You want to run a Fed that's heavy on tag teams. We want to have plenty of teams in the game. You want a lot of cruiserweights, particularly luchadors. We really wanted to amp that up. And then, again, Dirk and Charlie is because we love ourselves some ghoulies. So you're always getting those. But in addition to that, one of the reasons why these are alts is because, as we talked about, wanting eras to be as thorough and feel new as possible, is there are so many brand new original characters that almost certainly will make their way to 80s at some point. But it was important to us that a lot of those debut in eras, that you see them there first.
We all sort of know who are the character requests we see the most of over the years. They pop up a lot when you reveal some of these alt characters. And every once in a while, another player might come in to one of those requests in the comment section and go, just hold off for eras. It's probably coming then. And I can assure you that they are absolutely right.
You are right.
That's what we're saying here. There's a lot of wish list stuff that's maybe not been appearing in 80s over the past few months because it's happening in eras.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of it is already on display on the website right now. So
there you go.
Hidden, maybe not as hidden as it was yesterday. Yeah, I think kind of the same thing with Modern Mania, like on that note, there's been only a couple of releases since the summer. We had Los Ancestrales.
Cataclysmo!
And
Quetzal!
Our lucha representation was something that was being asked for a long time.
Yeah, and we've been wanting to do those guys forever.
Exactly, right. So it really guided our decision to push them to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with theirs, like these like requests for characters that we got over the years. It took some time to flesh out the ideas, and Eras was a great opportunity for us to kind of pull the trigger on all those. A lot of ideas that have been sitting in the chamber that it's perfect time to let it out, and I think that's kind of what our goal was for Modern over the past couple months too, was to give these super awesome, super relevant luchadors and have them wreak havoc on your Fed until Eras releases.
Absolutely right. And to your point about having the opportunity to explore a lot of these wish list type things in eras, that's one of the things that's so exciting about the creative aspect in terms of the universe of eras, is that we've got this well of depth to pull from because we've got an established universe that's been around for quite a while. And we've always had these ideas floating around about how do we get this character in or how do we get that character in. But with eras, you've got this kind of blank slate. You get to retell almost like the origin story of everything.
Yeah.
So you can sneak these wish list guys in, and they're at the same starting point as these fully established characters who have been around from day one. And it's an interesting way to build the world that way. From episode 1, if you will, as opposed to if you're doing an update to 80s Mania Returns, it's like, episode, 574 or whatever, however many updates we've done,
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's an interesting thing too, for us to be able to tell the story like that, where everyone starts on a page 1.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it gives kind of life to this game franchise, this universe, whatever you want to call it. It really is like the culmination, kind of like the it all led to eras kind of situation. And that's the feeling we've been trying to personify with this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we brought this up in the past too, but it's really exciting that everything, or at least all the characters, let's say, are drawn by Rusty Shackles, because it really gives a unified feel to the world where these guys coexist with each other. And they look great when they're paired up in a tag team or a feud, when they're on display. And we were able to build the Eras of Wrestling user interface off of that style that Rusty sort of provided for us. We built outward from his character art style. And that's why you'll see, even on the website now and in the trailer video, you'll get a glimpse of our style here with this game. There's a cartoon vibe, obviously, with Rusty's artwork, but the user interface we thought really sort of popped with this comic book panel atmosphere throughout it.
Which makes sense for like the eras represented, right? It's like it starts in, the Territory era, goes through until the Millennium era. That was Comic Central, baby. That was
Yes.
that was it. So especially like for influences I can speak for myself and probably for Chris, but I know the influences from that style run deep in like everything that we do. So it was just a natural fit. So it looks great.
I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I even look down the line at what the Eras of Wrestling game can encompass. And it goes beyond Territories and Millennium.
Mm-hmm.
There are eras beyond that. And, we're always thinking of stuff. And that, that's a conversation for another day, but, open your mind. To quote Total Recall.
There it is.
Yeah. Not to spoil the next couple of years of development, but
Right.
there's this game has a lot to give.
Yeah. I think we're setting the groundwork.
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole point of moving to our Gen 3 engine, is to facilitate growth over, how this game will evolve over time, just like 80s did, just like how modern did. But we're kind of taking that into account from the beginning, to make sure that we know what's coming.
Absolutely. And you guys out there who have been with us for a while, you've seen multiple iterations of 80s. You saw 80s turn into 90s Extreme, turn into 80s Mania Returns. You saw Modern Mania evolve into Modern Mania GM. So the point is you guys have been with us for at least, a few of these releases if you've been around for a few years. So you know how things go, right? On day one, you're going to encounter maybe a bug or a feature that you feel, oh, I wish it did this, or some balance issues where, oh, I hope it's tweaked to that. And how these things go, right? They evolve quickly and will work together. Like us as developers and you as players, we'll work together because we're going to take the feedback and continue to polish and shape this thing well beyond launch day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So launch day is a great day because we finally get it out to the world and everyone has it in their hands and is able to enjoy what we've been building. But it's only just the beginning.
Another train to leave the station.
Yeah. All right, that is enough talking. I got to get back to play testing Eras, and I'm not even kidding. I have to go do that right now.
Until next time, we can't wait for you to start playing Eras 2. And as always,
If you're down for more mic spots,
stay tuned.
Are you a fan of Checkmate creative content? The most impactful way to show your support is by leaving our games 5-star ratings on Google Play and the App Store. That ensures we keep making more of the content you love and games you want to play. Following both 80s Mania Wrestling and Modern Mania Wrestling on Instagram, X, and Facebook is the best way to stay up to date with our latest news and character reveals. We invite you to share any and all feedback about your playing experience directly with us at support@80smaniawrestling.com or support@modernmaniawrestling.com.
This has been a Checkmate Creative production.